wide receivers I actually would target on the waiver wire this week. Let's start with MVS, Marquez, Valdes-Scantling. MVS belongs on all rosters. Look, this is a guy who saw a team-high 10 targets last week. He's playing a lot more snaps than Geronimo Allison, and so far this year, MVS has been targeted on a higher percentage of routes than even Devontae Adams. Marquez Valdes-Scantling, the clear number 2 wide receiver in Green Bay. Remember, over Aaron Rodgers' last 5 healthy seasons, his number 2 wide receiver has averaged 14.3 fantasy points per game, which last year would have been the 23rd best wide receiver in fantasy on a points per game basis. Also available in almost 60% of leagues, Mecole Hardman. A lot of mouths to feed in that Kansas City offense, but to paraphrase the great fantasy analyst Tupac, there ain't no offense like a KC offense, because a KC offense don't stop. Hardman has scored a long touchdown in consecutive games and has played over 70% of snaps this year. You want a part of anyone that gets passes from Mahomes. DJ Shark comes in at number 3. This kid fits with Gardner Minshew better than facial hair and headscarves. Shark has found the end zone in every game this year. He's averaging over 14 air yards per target. The preseason buzz has translated to regular season production. Big playability still available in almost 60% of ESPN leagues. And then there's Nelson Agholor. Yes, he's had some drop issues, but don't throw the baby out with the bathwater. 24 targets, 3 touchdowns over his last 2 games. Agholor remains an option while the other Eagles receivers are banged up. He's also available in nearly 60% of ESPN leagues.
Also, Nelson Agholor gets another game against Matthew's Redskins, so expect huge numbers from him in that game.
Let's go to a full screen for all of my top waiver wire receivers for week 4. Aside from the guys I just mentioned, how about Philip Dorsett? I also like him. This is a guy who scored in both games where Antonio Brown didn't play for the Patriots. He's caught 90% of his targets so far, and New England has had 3 wide receivers on the field this year, 73% of the time, much higher rate than they did last year. And by the way, I think you're going to love this segment because actually Daniel Jones is my number 1 pickup on the quarterback waiver wire this week. And it's partly because of his mobility. Remember, in his career at Duke, Daniel Jones ran for over 1,300 yards and 70 touchdowns. Jones also going to be far more aggressive down the field than Eli was, as he's averaging over 9.4 air yards per pass attempt so far. Daniel Jones isn't just a grab and stash. He's already a streaming option, starting fantasy quarterback, including this week against the Redskins. As for some other waiver wire quarterbacks I like, how about Jacoby Brissett? You know, he's playing well in that post-Andrew Luck Colts offense. He's got multiple touchdowns in every game this year, and now he gets the Raiders and Chiefs over the next 2 weeks. 2 teams who give up a lot of points. Brissett, available in more than 80% of ESPN leagues. And a guy who's out there in almost 100% of ESPN leagues, Kyle Allen. 2 first names, always a crowd pleaser. Word is Cam Newton's injury is going to keep him out for a while, which means more run for Allen, who's averaging 24.7 fantasy points in his 2 career starts. Even more impressive, Allen has 7 touchdowns in those 2 games. While Gallman isn't going to give you anywhere near Barkley's production, he will be the number 1 running back on a real offense, and that's going to have value. I have Gallman as a legit flex play for as long as Saquon Barkley is out. After Gallman, how about taking a look at Kansas City's Darrel Williams? His performance last week in place of Damian Williams, I think, should earn him more work in that KC backfield. 109 yards and just 14 touches. He was used both as a runner and a receiver. And look, he's got a chance to be a significant part of that Chiefs offense. Given the injury-prone history of LaShawn McCoy and Damian Williams, he has the upside for a big role in the league's best offense. He should be rostered in every league if you need some upside. After Williams, it's getting pretty bleak, but yeah, Ronald Jones. That's where we are in the season, right? We're talking about Ronald Jones. And look, I'm not putting Jones in my lineup immediately. It is worth noting he's had at least 13 carries and 75 rushing yards in 2 of his 3 games this season. The one he didn't was that Thursday night game, short week, bad weather. He's worth a stash if you have space in case he earns the Buccaneers job outright over Peyton Barber. And lastly, sexy Rexy Burkhead. I get it with Patriots running backs, but did you know Burkhead actually leads New England in scrimmage yards this season while also leading their backfield in snaps played? Gallman, Williams, Jones, Burkhead in that order, with Darrel Williams having the most upside. Look, he could be the starting running back for the Chiefs, but he also has the biggest risk because he could end up being inactive if Damian Williams and LaShawn McCoy are both healthy.
For more, sign up now for ESPN Plus.
Thanks for watching ESPN on YouTube. Remember to download the free ESPN Fantasy app. And for streaming sports and premium content like the Fantasy Show, be sure to subscribe to ESPN Plus.